There we go. All right. Okay. Hi, everybody. We are recording. We are ready to go. We are finishing up our 6th class in our 6-part series, which is super exciting and sad at the same time. But we have another series coming to One Oak Tribe that is going to be amazing also. And I know that you guys will give her all the love and support that you have given me. And I'm so excited for that. And you're going to dive a little bit deeper into gut health, which is going to be fabulous. So stay tuned for that information. I believe her first class is coming up at the end of October. I think it's the 24th, right, Chris? The 24th, yes. So you guys have just continued abundance of education coming your way. Plus, it's okay. You know where I am. I will show up everywhere. It's how I do. So don't worry. You'll always be able to see me somewhere. So today we want to talk about this or that. I think one of the biggest questions that I get all the time is which one is best for me, right? And that normally follows the question, but why is there so many choices? So we'll take it in 2 parts really quickly before we dig into some particulars. So first of all, what is right for you? Everybody and every body is different. And that is why that answers the second part question. Why are there so many options? That's exactly why. Because we're all made differently, or we all have different chemistries. We all have different stories, different makeups. We all suffer with different things. And our bodies all excel in different things also. So because we're all a little bit different, there's a need for different complexes in each different thing that we do. And Young Living is surely giving us tons of encouragement and tons of education and tons of choices in what we need. Though we're not going to have time to touch or dig really deeply into each thing, I will let you know how you can find me at the end, and I can totally give you some more information on some specifics, and consults are always available. So let's start a little bit with maybe something that is like on most of our minds. The one thing I get a lot of that people need information on is gut health. So we have a few different choices for gut health, right? We have our ICP Daily, we have our ICP, we have our Life 9. We also have different formulas that go in with that. And forgive me, I have tons of notes because I'm trying to condense. Very difficult because I don't want to keep you guys here for 2 hours. So we can talk a little bit about those really quickly. So our ICP Daily has 6 grams of prebiotics, and then it also has 5 grams of soluble fiber, which is water-based fiber. This one has more fennel, anise, tarragon, ginger, also as an added essential oil blend. And that's going to be highlighted a little bit through what we're talking about, because that's what makes Young Living different. You can go to any store and you can compare very similar products with similar ingredients, but the power of the essential oils is what makes Young Living's products very different, and why we're all here and why we want to learn about them. So with fennel, anise, tarragon, and ginger, along with this inulin fiber, the soluble fiber, it is more bioavailable and absorbs a lot easier for those who may have certain issues like diverticulosis or any sort of disease or issue with inflammation in the gut, irritable bowel syndrome. The reason that is because it mixes super well in powder. Inulin, water soluble fiber, is able to be assimilated in the gut pretty easy, and it flows through the intestines. ICP, however, is a little bit coarser. You actually have some of the grains of psyllium husk that's in there. So for certain people that struggle with inflammation in the gut and or some of the disorders like diverticulosis or are prone to diverticulitis, things like that, you'll want to be careful with the fiber that you take. And fiber is very important for those things because without the fiber to keep things moving, that's how things stick on the walls of the intestines. And it creates that irritation, creates the pockets in the intestine, creates the issue. So fiber is very important for that, for digestion. Our Life 9 probiotics, powered by essential oils, 17 billion cultures, absolutely wonderful for that person who is just new to probiotics, for teenagers, for anyone at 12 and up is what it's recommended. It's going to help stabilize the gut a little bit better. But remember that those things work hand in hand. And then along with some of the other things we're going to talk about, which is our liver support and kidney support, et cetera. The probiotics are super important to keeping good bacteria in our gut and helping to stabilize our alkaline and our pH. If you are one that struggles with that, perhaps you have constant acidity, maybe with bladder issues or UTIs, things like that, you can consider adding the alkaline to your vitamin regimen, as they say. So that's something you can take in the evening time with a glass of water, the alkaline. It is a wonderful supplement to help aid with that. A lot of coffee drinkers, a lot of caffeine drinkers, even tea drinkers, there's a lot of acidity in that. And then those who are prone to candida, sometimes with those issues, we make sure that we take more like cranberry or different supplements, perhaps that can throw off your acidity as well. And then you keep having the return of the issue because you don't have the probiotics to help balance the good and the bad bacteria. So something to consider if you're going through that. We all know how important probiotics are. And what's wonderful about Young Living is, though it's a 17 billion probiotic, it can seem very small or very light. We can make a bundle with various different types of gut health supplements to increase that. Our proteins, as I'm going to talk about a little bit, our proteins actually have tons of prebiotics and tons of probiotics in them. Our enzymes as well, because they're all plant-based. And enzymes come from the gut, they're made in the gut, but in order to intake them, they come from our green foods, they come from the berries, and mostly the green foods that we take in have those natural enzymes that are going to help break down things like carbs, fats, and proteins. So you can see where it may not sound like the 500 billion you might see in a store, 100 billion that you might see in the store, but you're getting them from plants. So they're actually more of a biochemical match, which is different. And you'll also want to be careful if you're buying store-bought brands. Most of them are dairy, so they come from dairy. That is a fun fact that not everybody knows. And the issue with that is most of us suffer with dairy issues and don't even know it. There are so many things like PCOS that's now linked to dairy. So many hormonal issues linked to dairy for women. It's even cysts now and things like that, horrible cramps, hormones, things like that. So make sure you do your research. And maybe, if you've been to any of my classes before, that I say treat the cause, not the symptom, right? So you can buy a 100 billion probiotic. You can buy a 500 billion probiotic that they would only suggest you do for 4 days anyways. You can do that. You can see what that does for your body, but keep in mind that when you take care of one thing for a little while, you're not treating the cause. And when you don't treat the cause, you're going to have to come back and treat that thing again. So make sure that you're getting the most balanced of things that you can in your diet and in your supplement regimen or schedule. So if we talk about our protein a little bit, we have a couple different types. We have our Balanced Complete Protein. It is a complete meal replacement, is superfood based. Our superfood actually has a different fiber in it, and a glucomannan and a konjac root fiber. Those are fibers that are designed to help encourage your body's good bacteria as well. And it actually controls the sugar in the body. So you're getting this complete protein. The reason that those additives are in our protein, in this Balanced Complete Protein, is because there is sugar in fruit and greens and superfoods, right? So if we took a protein and we put all these good things in it, you guys know that you've probably made smoothies. So you're looking at berries and bananas and things like that, but then you're like, how much sugar is actually in this? And so in that case, you're going to need an enzyme or something that's going to be focused to break down those things and keep them balanced. The Balance Complete protein is for people who need that meal replacement. If you are working on weight loss goals, if you are trying to control your sugar, if you are looking at controlling your calories, that Balance Complete protein is for you. It only has about 12 grams of protein per serving. So it's not really for those who are looking to increase their protein, which is a whole different thing we'll talk about when we talk about pure protein. But it is intended for those busy people that need to feel full, give your body the nutrients it needs so it's not searching for more, but it's okay and stable, and it's getting the vitamins and nutrients it needs, and you're able to maintain some of your healthy goals that you have for yourself. Our pure protein is very interesting because it has high protein. It also has superfoods, has wonderful ingredients in it. But it is more designed for those who are looking to increase their protein. Who might be looking to increase their protein? A few different types of people that may surprise you. Did you know that a lot of our hormone issues come from a lack of protein in our body? Protein feeds the brains, it feeds the muscle. It is very important, especially for women, to have 80 grams of protein per day. At least that's the minimum amount for an adult, is that 80 grams of protein. Also with protein, because of what it does and how it breaks down and all the different chains of proteins, it helps with joint health. It helps with strengthening your muscles, making them more flexible. It helps prevent them from tearing, things like that, which as we get older, we need even more support with. So very important to get your protein, not just for weightlifting, but for your overall physique and body, no matter what it is. If you have issues getting out of bed and everything's really, really stiff, there could be lots of reasons why, but you might want to look at how much protein you actually get in a day. A chicken breast, for example, about 3 ounces of chicken breast that would fit the palm of your hand. That right there is only about 4 ounces of protein. It's a lot of meat. Now, if you don't eat meat, this is even more of a reason why you're going to want to make sure you're getting enough protein. Protein is essential for balancing the cardiac muscles, the muscles of the heart. And that, as we know, is something super important because heart damage is something that takes a long time to reverse and can be deadly. So protein becomes an important part of our everyday. We have different food choices for protein as well. One of my favorites, which is behind me actually, are the protein power bites. If you guys have never had those, they're amazing. They're like 9 grams of protein per the little bar that's in there, but they are wonderful. Lots of different food choices that Young Living has for that. So let's get into the heart a little bit. Since we brought it up, let's talk about it. So our CardioGize is amazing. So there's a few different things. We have CardioGize, we have OmegaGize. Both of them are good for the heart. OmegaGize is a little bit more geared towards brain health, which I'll explain why in a little bit. But CardioGize has powerful herbs like hawthorn berry, motherwort, Don Quai, and CoQ10. And it's a uniCoQ10. So it is very powerful. It is designed to make sure that you get the most oxygen that you can to your heart and in your blood. And motherwort, hawthorn berry, and Don Quai. It's funny because I had to do research on this one because I thought, well, all of the supplement remedies that you typically see these in are for women who are struggling with hormones, estrogen levels, maybe need a little bit of support to feel good for their mate, to say that in the best way possible. So normally those are what you see, but when it comes to CardioGize, the reason that these are there is because it is actually influential for for an influential herb for our nervous system, which helps keep our blood pressure and keep our heart from beating fast from stress, etc. So those herbs are just amazing. And I can't even believe this, how wonderful Cardiogize is. I do have a little subclaimer of those who should not take Cardiogize. If you have any sort of heart murmur, if you are prone to anxiety in the way that anything energetic to your heart is going to give you that skip of a beat or increase your blood pressure, you do want to be careful. This is a very powerful supplement. Even for myself, I remember when I took it the first couple days, I felt like I had taken too much caffeine, which never really happens to me because I don't need a lot of caffeine anymore. But I do remember, as particularly after I had my children, when I first introduced coffee back into my life, after being pregnant, I had that like kind of jittery, fluttery feeling. So please be careful, because if you do take it and you have those symptoms or those issues, I do have a heart murmur. I was able to figure that out much later. That can definitely cause a little bit of fear, and also could cause you to have an accident or something like that. So you guys know how you respond to those things. So just a little disclaimer there with that. Our Omegagize is pretty awesome. It has DHA, and it also has it's DHA, which is for the brain. The DHA is a chemical in the brain that helps for things like remembering, for all around cognitivity, for support with focus, etc. Omega-3s are awesome for that, but omega-3s are also blood thinners. So if you're trying to figure out what you can take for your heart, if you're already on blood thinners via prescription medicine, when you're talking to your customers, you need to let them know that omegas are blood thinners. That is how they work. It is very, very, very important to know that, because I have had customers that have come in mistreated and not told, who were looking to bring down their cholesterol, maybe added focus for joint health, eye health, right? GHA and EPA help with our eye and our brain health. And they had an accident, something like that happened, and all that they were on were omegas in high doses for that, and almost died. So, please make sure that before you recommend supplements, you do your research and you reach out. So just to recap for those two things, Cardiogize is awesome if you are a person who's a little more sedentary. You don't do much. You need to get your blood moving. You need to break down some of the fats in your blood, cholesterol issues, etc. Cardiogize is awesome. Omegagize is wonderful for those who are looking to increase their fatty acids, their medium chain triglycerides, because those are there as well, your MCTs. So if you're on the keto diet, etc., that is one that you can use to help you towards those goals that you're using as well. But you do want to ask these questions, and just a disclaimer, it is so important that you guys, that you talk to your customers before you actually offer anything, because medications and herbal supplements, they do clash. They can clash. How they clash is important to know. And you can even do a quick Google search on medications and what herbs not to take, and it can help you a little bit with that. And plus, you know where I am. You can always reach me if you need help with those types of things. So now we can talk a little bit about, let me see here. Squirrel. All right. Sorry. I probably need the MindWise that I'm getting ready to talk to you guys about here in a minute. All right. So let's talk a little bit about our liver health and maybe our kidneys as well. Unless we need to pause for a second. Looks like we have a lot of questions.
Sorry, I had just said, keep them coming. We'll make sure we answer them before the end of it.
Thanks, Kay. Thank you,
Is that
Ken.
what you,
Awesome.
is that what you want to do? Do you want to answer at the end, or do you want me to read them to you now before you go
Yeah,
bed?
no, let's answer at the end because as we keep going through this whole body, I'm literally covering about 98% of all of Young Living supplements right now. There's just a few that I'm not going into because it's a little bit, it's non-basic, but I'm going to be covering a lot. So you might find some of your questions in some of the information going forward. So yeah, we'll do it at the end. We'll do a Q&A. Plus, I like to hang out with you guys at the end if that's okay. All right, so let's go into some of our liver choices. We have JuvaPower, JuvaTone. So we can talk a little bit about those differences. They're both for healthy liver. JuvaPower is something that's supposed to be sprinkled on your food. It must be taken with liquids. One of the issues with this is if you suffer from Sjogren's syndrome or if you have a likelihood to choke, perhaps you have an issue with dryness. You have to be careful with the JuvaPower because you do sprinkle it on your food. So you want to make sure you're taking it with plenty of water. Our JuvaTone is also healthy liver. It has some of your B vitamins, your choline, your inositol. It helps with fat breakdown. So your Juva powder is primarily psyllium husk. So it's a little bit different than your JuvaTone. It's basically for those who don't have any problems with digestion or in need of any type of detoxing, just your typical everyday liver support. Why is this important? Because even when you take natural medications and essential oils, you need to support your liver daily. Your liver is the filter. It really, really is. It's that sifting basket that your grandma used to have that she would put powdered sugar in or flour in and she would shake so that it just sprinkled on. That is how your liver is. And if that liver gets clogged, which it does, even by herbs, it can by oils, it can by other things. If it gets wet, if it gets clogged, then that means your body's not able to detoxify properly. So JuvaPower is your daily supplement to just encourage your body to keep digesting and breaking down even natural herbs and oils and things like that. It helps with the assimilation. It helps to get it where it needs to be. JuvaTone is a little bit more for those who need to detox, maybe those who have liver damage, high liver enzymes, things like that. It could be, different types of medications. If you take a lot of medications or any, and you have a sensitive liver, you're going to need to look at something more of a JuvaTone. The JuvaTone is going to act quickly. They're tablets, and it is designed to go in and eat up whatever residue is in there, and then also provide the liver the nutrients it needs to replace its damaged tissue, which the liver does very well. Of all the organs, the liver is the quickest one to regenerate. And as long as you're treating it daily, you shouldn't get into that position where you need, to have an issue where you can't regenerate. However, everybody's body is different, and there can be different medical conditions that attack the liver, such as autoimmune, et cetera, that you'll want to talk to your doctor about when it comes to that. But the JuvaTone has a lot of phytonutrients, which is what's wonderful about it versus the JuvaTone, which is that more fiber-based. With the phytonutrients, these are nutrients that are primarily from the sun. So you're getting that wonderful, you're basically getting in your body what the animals eat to stay alive. You're putting in your body. So you're bypassing that step and you're putting it into your body to help your liver detox. And it's the nutrients that the liver and the blood need in order to cleanse properly. And JuvaTone also, we have dandelion root, which is wonderful for kidneys and for the liver. If you guys if you don't have dandelion root tea, or you're not taking something like that, or a JuvaTone or something, it is very important. Dandelion is so wonderful for the liver. It's like the cheapest, easiest thing you can ever do for the liver. That and lemon oil. But we're not talking oils yet. We'll get there. But we're talking supplements. But I do want to tell you that because I help customers all the time and they say, okay, my budget is this, right? There's a twofold thing that comes with that. My budget is this. What do? I can't add the JuvaTone, right? I can't. So what can I do to support my liver? My liver needs supported. I'm taking natural herbs and oils, but I don't know. I can't afford this particular thing. That's where the lemon comes in. The lemon is the easiest way, lemon and water. It is the easiest way to take care of your liver every day. So that is when I do suggest, hey, you can do lemon and water, right? Because you cannot take a supplement for every part of your body. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. You cannot do that. Just think about it. If you were to take something for your brain, for your heart, for your kidneys, for your liver, for your intestines, for your skin, if you were to take all these supplements in a day, what could happen to your body? Everything's in a red light place. Like it's in a waiting line to get assimilated through the body, and it's waiting its turn. That would be wonderful, but these are also natural things. So natural things, if they can't get assimilated, get routed through your body, be dispersed, do what it's supposed to do, they turn bad in the body, guys, like rancid, like bad. Okay, if you have ever taken olive oil and cooked it for too long and it's black and brown, that's rancid oil. You don't want to eat that. You don't want to eat the food that does that. So it's the same thing. Those things in our body, if they aren't digested properly, if they aren't given the amount of time that they need in order to do what they're supposed to do, they turn bad in our body. And then now our body has to deal with the thing that it was supposed to get help from. So it's important that we start thinking about the cause. We treat one thing at a time. We're not, here at One Oak Tribe, we're here to educate. We are not here to make you spend $700 a month so that you run and never come back. You can get that at your local vitamin store for sure. They'll load you up on all kinds of stuff. And you'll walk out and go, I can never go back there because my husband says I spend way too much money there, right? That's not the goal with us. We want you guys to be able to progressively work your way on this wellness journey to getting better and taking care of your bodies little by little, and then being able to help your customers do the same. So now let's talk a little bit about our standard types of vitamins and why that's important. So we dug in a little bit with our liver. We talked about our gut health. We talked about our heart health. So let's talk about our ABCs and Ds, right? And along with that comes our things like our calcium and our magnesium. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about our super vitamin D and who needs to take this. So our super vitamin D is so important because it's hormone production, respiratory, bone health, bone growth, muscles. Also for mood, our vitamin D is for mood, hormone regulation as well. How can we say that? Because it's powered by lime and melissa oil, and those two things help with mood and regulation. Why is that important to put in vitamin D? Because a lack of vitamin D mimics a lot of issues for us. It will mimic depression. It will mimic malnutrients, because without the vitamin D, your calcium cannot be absorbed in the body. You will struggle to be able to get the benefits of magnesium, and among some other things like that. Your muscles will be weak, etc. So it mimics other diseases. And most of us are vitamin D deficient. Fun fact. If you haven't had your vitamin D checked in a while, I highly recommend it. Our vitamin D is also lichen-based, which is a plant that gets its vitamin D. It's actually primarily vitamin D because the sun will kill the plant. So it has vitamin D in it to protect itself from the sun, and we harvest the vitamin D from that plant. There are few companies that do this. I honestly thought we were like the only one. I have been proven wrong. So let me tell you, there are at least two other companies that use a lichen-based vitamin D that are reputable as well, but they do not have the powered benefit of the lime and melissa. So who could use this vitamin D? Those who will benefit from a natural form of vitamin D, a D3. What is the difference between vitamin D and vitamin D3? Nothing. Vitamin D3 is your natural form of vitamin D. Vitamin D2, however, is a synthetic form of vitamin D that is used when people cannot properly absorb vitamin D. So you might go to your doctor and you might get a prescription for 50,000 international units of vitamin D2. You cannot go to a vitamin store and look for 50,000 international units of vitamin D3 and make that match. If your vitamin D3 is so low that your doctor gives you a prescription for vitamin D2, you can't match that. However, you can still naturally build vitamin D in your body, but talk to your doctor about the ways to do that. And then obviously consult somebody who knows about supplemental nutrition, because vitamin D can naturally be built up in your body. Whether or not you'll be able to build it up in time, so that you don't suffer severely, your doctor would know best regarding that one. So make sure you're always talking to your customers about that. Let's see, our Super B. I can't go without our Super B. I cannot live without Super B. It's our healthy energy, cardiovascular, cognitive. It fights daily stress. It is a folate form of B, which means that it comes from lemon peel. That's kind of interesting because you're actually getting your vitamin B from the lemon peel. What's significant about that is that is a very easily digestible form without the particular allergens that could come with some vitamin Bs. That's why if you go to the store, you're going to see a lot of vitamin Bs, and there's a lot of different types of forms. It's because certain people can be prone to different allergies with B, depending on where it comes from. And it's also methylcobalamin, which is a natural form of vitamin B as well in that complex. Who can desperately use Super B? Almost everyone. B is the first supplement that your body uses in order to sustain a healthy energy level, cardiovascular level, stress level. B and zinc, and our Super B actually has zinc in it. Zinc, you should never ever have more than 30 milligrams in a day. So our B has a significantly low amount, less than 3 milligrams of zinc. But if you consider all the other areas that you get zinc from in your diet or other supplements, typically that works alongside the B complex to make sure that your body's getting that stress support that it primarily needs, and the cognitive support. Who should be careful with vitamin Bs? Unfortunately, there are allergens with vitamin Bs, and same as vitamin D, some people's bodies can absorb the B correctly. If you have certain issues with your gut health, particularly those who have had like bariatric surgery, things like that, where they've had parts of their intestines taken out, can be very difficult for you to absorb the vitamin B. So in that way, you're going to want to go to a sublingual type of vitamin B, which you can find in our Ningxia, has an absorbent amount of vitamin B in our Ningxia, provided that you don't have an issue with wolfberry, which a lot of people that I have helped recently have been able to see that they can choose the B or the wolfberry. It just depends on your customer. So make sure that you talk to them about that. All right, so let's see. Let's go in a little bit and talk about our thyroid. Let's see where our time is. My gosh, you guys, we could talk about so much forever. So much fun. There's so many good things, but I know our thyroid is very important. So we'll talk about that really quickly. So we have with our thyroid support, let's see, we have our Thiamine, of course, and that is basically our adrenal porcine. Or it also has amino acids, pituitary powder, bovine powder. Who benefits from this? Those who need support for their thyroid. Perhaps you have a low or a high thyroid, and you need a little bit of support balancing that. Now, something to think about with this is that it has the bovine powder and the adrenal powder. If you do not need this type of supplement for your thyroid, particularly those with Hashimoto's benefit from this, or any type of autoimmune. But bovine powder and the porcine adrenal powder can cause diarrhea, can cause stomach upset if you don't need it. So if you are taking the Thiamin and you do have some of those issues, definitely something to talk about. You might do better with our Endoflex oil, which is absolutely fantastic for helping balance, and then also frankincense. And the reason is because those chemical frequencies and those two oils help your thyroid to naturally find its balance, versus giving it some nutrients to absorb, to use, to figure out when to use and how to use, which if you've ever used the Thiamin by itself, it doesn't work as well unless you're someone that's suffering with that hyper or hypo that needs those that adrenal support from the porcine and the bovine powder. So if you're someone who maybe just suffers with thyroid issues because of stress, because your adrenal system is suffering, the best recommendation I can give you is to take the Cortistop in the morning, the Thiamin in the evening. Take those together for 2 months. They do balance each other. You're getting support for the thyroid. Your thyroid gets stressed when your adrenal system is stressed, when your nerves are stressed, when you're releasing toxic chemicals like cortisol into the body, then your thyroid is going to feel that. So by taking these two, it can help to balance you out a little bit. If you have been diagnosed with something like Hashimoto's or hyper, make sure that you take the bottle to your doctor if you're on medication, because they can counteract. Nothing too crazy. There's nothing proven that the counteractions are lethal or detrimental in that way, but it can make the supplement less effective and or the medication less effective. So really you want to make sure that you're giving your body what it needs to balance, right? So taking more is not always best. Finding what you need for your body is where we want to focus a little bit more. The Thiamin also can make you a little drowsy, so make sure you take it at night. It's fabulous with the Cortistop. It's wonderful. I just love it. Helps me sleep. And the Cortistop you take typically for about 8 weeks. You're off for 2 to 4 weeks, and then you start again. So now we can talk a little bit about that gap, right? So you take Cortistop, you take Thiamin, but what do you do in between? What's a girl to do? I mean, what are we going to do in the middle? So what we're going to do at that point is look at the issue. Why do you need it? Why do you need the Cortistop? Why do you need the Thiamin? Do you have a thyroid issue? Is it more stress related? Is it hormone based? Because if it is, then we have some different options. We can go to our Femigen. We can go to our PD8020. PD8020 is designed for those who maybe are estrogen dominant. It helps to balance that with the pregnenolone to balance your progesterone a little bit, which those two things will help balance your testosterone. If you are devoid of estrogen, then you're not going to want to take something progesterone based. That's when people throw things. Just throwing that out there. So, right, it's not where we want to go. So in that case, you might want to look at something like your Femigen, which is designed with that DHEA the DHEA is naturally in your system to balance those three hormones, your estrogen, your testosterone, and your progesterone. The DHEA is actually what regulates those three things. As we get older, we lose the DHEA. Our body stops making it because we're not going to need it anymore. Hence the reason why our hormones start getting off balanced. Who will not benefit from Femigen? If you are taking bioidentical hormones, you do not want to take Femigen. because it will definitely throw off your balance. And basically what happens is they're going to fight each other because they won't know how to regulate with a bioidentical synthetic hormone versus natural pregnenolone that comes from, different food bases, plant bases. So you're going to be making them fight. And that's not a fun thing because then you won't get the relief that you actually, got it for. So you could be looking at using a little bit something different. We do have Endogize in that case. It's DHEA focused endocrine system. It has ashwagandha. So say you are that menopausal person and you are struggling with staying calm because your body is just out of whack and you need to be able to have more energy. You're not looking to replace hormones at this point. You want to look at maybe Endogize. The DHEA is going to balance your hormones, what little or much that there are. And the ashwagandha, which is from the KM66, which is the active form of Withania somnifera. That's the active ingredient in ashwagandha, which, by the way, is not in all the ashwagandha you will ever find in the stores. Let me tell you, you need the active ingredients, which is the Withania somnifera. That ingredient is what actually provides the relief and balances the cortisol in the adrenal glands. That's in our Endogize. It's awesome. But our Cortistop does not have ashwagandha because it's made up a little bit differently, which we'll talk about that in a minute. But the Endogize, it does have that herbal support from the Ayurvedic medicine to help calm the adrenal system. Here's the difference. When you get panicky, there's two things people typically do, fight or flight. It's not just the way that the adrenal glands work, because there's also freeze, okay, with the adrenal glands. There's also that freeze, which is from stress, which is where Cortistop helps. But if you want to fight or if you want to run, what ashwagandha does is it helps the adrenal system respond to that feeling in a softer way. So if you're someone who holds their breath and you don't know why, and you have that kind of anxiety, it's ashwagandha that helps with that. If you're someone that finds yourself not able to stay in one place or stop from moving, perhaps you suffer with ADHD, perhaps you suffer with other types of illnesses or even autism, the ashwagandha is what helps your adrenal glands respond to that emotion by balancing the cortisol level. In Cortistop is for those who need to encourage your body to balance its levels naturally. And that's why you take it for 8 weeks and you stop. Because when you take Cortistop, what's in that is designed to build up all the natural things in your body, and then you stop. Because you can't take more. It doesn't do more at that point. But as it slowly starts you start losing your reserve, you start using your reserve, then you can start adding the Cortistop back in to build the reserve in your body of those different chemicals. So that's primarily for people who are perimenopausal or women who need that balance, high stress, etc. If you're looking towards menopause and things like that, you're going to want to look at maybe the Endogize. And perhaps the Femigen, depending on where you are in that system. Why don't we take them all? That's a very good question. I'm so glad you asked. Let me tell you why. Because you cannot have herbs and oils compete with each other and have a good outcome. Remember that these are natural things in your body. Just the same as you wouldn't plan a smoothie with certain things. If you're doing a fiber smoothie, you're going to use primarily water. You're going to use something that's going to help with the fiber to go through your body as well, right? Not build up. It's not something that you're going to put bananas in, right? Not going to put bananas, oatmeal, and fiber in one smoothie, because that is going to be like a rock in your stomach. It is not going to do anything. So same thing, but taking too many different types of herbs at the same time, it will not do anything. Your body's not going to know what to do. And worse than that, you could have those side effects from that. So please be careful and make sure you consult someone who can help you through that, your doctor or anyone else. Yes. So let me see. What can we talk about next? Ooh. And then please make sure you write down your questions. Looking forward to talking with you guys after this. Okay, we're going to talk about vitamin C because it is the season really quickly. So we have our C chewables and our Super C. Here's the difference. Our C chewables are for daily use. It is a basic percentage of vitamin C. It's from the acerola cherry, which means it is the 100% natural form of vitamin C. Along with that, it has camu camu, and it also has fruit powder, and is flavored by the orange essential oil. So you can take that daily. You're going to get your daily vitamin C for that. If you need to increase your vitamin C, perhaps it's pre-surgery, perhaps it's your immune system, perhaps it's because you're, needing that increase for whatever reason. You're looking at different vaccines, etc., things like that. The Super C, that's what it is for. It's actually 40% of your daily intake, that type of vitamin C. It doesn't exceed the amount of vitamin C that your body can handle in one dose, which is important to know. A lot of people will just take like 3,000 milligrams of C. It's not good on your kidneys. First of all, let me just tell you that. So not safe for you to take more vitamin C than normal. But also, your natural form of vitamin C, remember, is only going to come from cherries or oranges. You're looking at ascorbic acid, which is the accepted form of vitamin C, which mimics in the body what you need in order for major health issues or immune support there. Also has zinc, and it has manganese, which is a mineral that helps support absorption for that. You won't need to take this all the time. This is not your daily supplement. So that's the difference. If you need the vitamin C daily, you're going to look at your Super C chewable. If you're looking to increase your immune system, provide extra supplemental support to your ligaments, your tendons, any soft tissue issues, like if you're having surgery, any augmentations, things like that, you're going to need to make sure that you increase that with your Super C. All right. Remember that the vitamin C also helps with immune support, respiratory, circulatory function, but primarily is all for strengthening connective tissue. It is your soft tissue vitamin. Rutin and bioflavonoids are in both, and that helps balance electrolytes, and it enhances absorption as well. So the bioflavonoids, that's actually what colors the plants, right? Colors the flowers. And that helps a lot with electrolytes, because if you think about flowers being in the sun and how affected they could be, wilted and weathered, right? So they have those natural electrolytes in them. So that's a little fun fact for you. All right. So I think we've touched on almost all of our major things except for some of our enzymes. Did you think I forgot those? No. This will be the last thing we touch on really quickly. I wanted to make sure that we got everybody on before we started talking about the enzymes. I know we talked a little bit about gut support in the beginning, but let's break down some of our enzymes. So first of all, we have Allerzyme. Allerzyme is a very vegetarian enzyme complex. Its focus is on after eating to break down basics, carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. And then keep in mind that this is not for children, the Allerzyme. Nothing for under 12, and it is a plantain product, and that is why. And it also has patchouli in it, which is why. I was mind blown that it had patchouli oil in it. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. What that does is it actually aids in relaxing your intestines. So cool. Who would have known, right? My gosh, I'm gonna have to give patchouli a try. I know Crystal's all over that. Like she's patchouli lady. Uh-huh. Yep. Patchouli pits. I know. I gotta give it a try, I guess. I've never been super keen to patchouli, but I am just loving that. So if you have gas, pressure, bloating, pain, minor cramping, that fullness feeling after you eat, and you need vegetarian support, that is your primary one. That is going to be your Allerzyme. Now, if you don't necessarily need all of those things, you can just look at your basic Essential Zyme. The reason Essential Zyme is different is because it has pancreatin in it, which comes from porcine. So that is going to help with your pancreas a little bit. It mimics the bile that comes from our body, that like the bile that comes from your gallbladder, that helps the pancreas, that helps to break down different things. So that is obviously not going to be your vegetarian option, but it does have betaine and betaine HCl, which is another type of digestive enzyme that helps with what's the word, inflammation in the gut. So that Essential Zyme you can take after every meal if you would choose. But say that you are all about taking your enzymes after every meal, but you are just not feeling it. You've got the inflammation, you feel tired, you feel, like not everything's breaking down properly for you. You've got food baby, as I like to call it. I mean, before I started doing enzymes and probiotics, every time I ate, I looked 4 months pregnant. I literally would be so embarrassed. I would be in the grocery store like, yeah, ooh, ha, ooh, like, please don't look at me. Totally pretend I was pregnant. It was like the most embarrassing thing ever. And I've got my little kid in the cart and I'm like, okay, I'm pregnant again. Yeah, that's what it is. So if you are like that and you're feeling that and you don't fit into your clothing after you eat and you've tried and you're a healthy eater and all of those things, then you might need a little extra support. So you can look at Essential Zymes 4 or Detox Zyme. So Essential Zyme 4, what's different than Essential Zyme? Who can benefit from this? Those who need a time-released type of capsule. Okay, so these ones are your capsules. And the difference is there's 2 capsules. One is plant-based, one is animal-based. So the plant-based one, it breaks down in your intestines, and that's actually fast-acting. That's immediate release. And then you have the animal-based enzymes that break down in your oh, sorry, I got that wrong. So your plant-based ones actually break down in your stomach, and your animal-based in your intestines, which is where you need them to be. So they break down in the environment that's suitable for them. So you're able to get a little bit longer of support for digestion. But you do have the immediate release that you need for your stomach. Detox Zyme, which is like my favorite. Detox Zyme promotes cleansing. It's also fast acting. It has bromelain, which is pretty awesome. Bromelain is a natural enzyme that comes from pineapple. That's pretty cool. And so it helps with sugars primarily, but also with inflammation, things like that, protease, lipase, and amylase. So now you've got support for carbohydrates, proteins, fats. You have anything dairy based. You have for herbs as well, any fiber based things. Now you've got all of those supports in the Detox Zyme. It also works hand in hand with your liver supplement. So for those of you who know that you don't eat well all the time, wish you could, but just don't, Detox Zyme might be the perfect thing for you. It's 1 capsule every evening. If you don't have the best diet, this is going to be the one that's the best for you. Now, if you have a really good diet, but just occasionally you eat the wrong thing and you need more support, well, you would probably do well with the Essential Zyme or the Allerzyme. And then the essential 4 would be for those things that you know you're going to eat and you're going to pay for later. We all have those. That is what the essentialzyme 4 is for. 4 is for. So that's going to help you the most with that. All right. Okay, you guys, I cannot believe that we got through so many of these things, but yet that there are so many more things. So we do have some things that we missed a little bit as far as like sulfurzyme and sulfurzyme powder. Let me tell you that those are the same. The capsules and the powder are the same. I totally dug into that thinking that there was something different. Nope. Absolutely the same. The only difference is if you're taking other things in capsule form, you might want to consider taking the powder form so that you can add it to your Ningxia, add it to your smoothies, add it to your protein, and do those things to help support your hair, your skin, your joints, your bones, your ligaments, etc. Because the capsules do need to break down in the body. And a lot of us do take supplements. So when we take a lot of supplements, we're going to need to do the things that we can in powder form or liquid form to help our bodies a lot. All right, where are we now? We did good. I think we did pretty good. So sorry I kept you guys so late. Please forgive me. Oh my goodness. But I'll be posting several other things in my stories and stuff like that for you guys for sure. But let's dig into some questions. And Crystal, I'll let you, if you don't mind, take the lead a little bit in that one.
Sounds good. Do you guys want to, those that asked questions, do you want to go ahead and raise your hand? I mean, I could go through and read it in the comments, but just in case it was answered.
Yeah, we can do raise hands. I think that's great. Go for it.
Right. Or if you're a little shy, it's okay. I can also...
If you're a little shy and you'd like to maybe put your comment right at the chat right now, you can do that as well. No problem.
I'll start reading some of the questions in case anybody wants to raise their hand. We'll do that.
Awesome.
All right. So someone asked Chloe. Let's start with Chloe. I know she has 3 questions right
I love Chloe. I love her.
Do you want me to read it from the chat box or do you want to just ask it?
I've got it. I totally saw that. Let me look at that real quick.
You want me to read it?
Nope, I'm totally reading it. Okay. So lemonade and lavender vitality every day. You know what? Lavender vitality is one of my favorite things in the whole wide world. The lemon does support your liver every day, as long as you don't have issues with, toxicity, or you don't have liver issues, something like that. The lemon can be a great place to start. I would suggest, however, incorporating maybe Ningxia so that you're getting the antioxidants and the plant-based enzymes to go along with the lemon. One of the best things that I can suggest is actually the Ningxia with a drop of lemon every day for that. You're kind of covering a lot. For a supplement that has almost everything, that is actually going to be our, we do have that supplement. I actually am taking it right now and I can't think of it off the top of my head. Crystal, can you the multivitamin?
Can I what?
The multivitamin.
Oh,
what is that? Yeah,
like the master formula?
Yes, teamwork. The master formula. It is awesome.
It's like a little packet and it has like a bunch of little.
Yep, covers everything. I will say, if you're going to take the master formula, don't take anything else besides your probiotics and your Ningxia. It has everything in it. Really, really does. What you don't want is to take too much, especially with the essential oils that are in it, right? Because you do need to know our supplements are different because of the essential oil in them. And if you take too many essential oils, you can have the issues in your gut with pockets and things like that. So please make sure, if you like the essential oils and those things are supporting your body, then you might not need to supplement with those things. That's okay. Your body's changed. So just make sure that you're aware of where you are and how you're feeling at that time. And then gut health is 125% related to your skin. Absolutely. What goes on inside comes out on the outside. It sure does. Most of the people that I help find the benefit of fixing things like cystic acne or other hormonal acne, things like that, very, very, very easily when they start working on enzymes, probiotics, and antioxidants. Those three things are huge for the skin. Amazing. So if you do want to dig a little bit deeper, make sure you ask me and we can totally chat about that at a different time. I got you, girl. Okay. All right. What else do
Hey,
we got? We got some hands. Cool.
yeah, we do have some hands. I don't know if, all right, Juanita.
Hello, I have a quick question. In regards to the supplements for women, I was listening to you talk about the Femagen and the Endogize. So I've had people ask if they're not making any hormones at all. Maybe they're in menopause, maybe they've had surgery or whatever, and they're not making anything. Is it safe or advisable to do like the Progessence Plus and the Femagen, or can you have too much of those?
If you're not making hormones at all, look at your cortisol. You're not going to want to look at Femagen or PD-8020 or anything like that. You don't want to add in hormones where you don't need them. Unfortunately, once we get to that point where we're not making them anymore, and that's a healthy part of life, is to not make those. So what we want to do is control our stress, is control our sleep. All of those things are supplements that make us feel like maybe our hormones are off. So you'll want to look at your adrenal health. The Endoflex and the Cortistop could be the thing that might be a little more beneficial. And then obviously we have oils to support that too, like our peace and calming, stress away. But we want to find out what the cause is, why they don't feel good. Because then that helps us know a little better. Also, if we remember that most of our serotonin, which contributes to how we make dopamine, is made in our gut health now becomes the major issue, the thing that we want to focus on the most, and helping with things like depression and stuff like that, even from not having hormones.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. All
Rose,
right.
do you have a question?
Hi, Rose.
Hi. So earlier on this year, I found out I've got thyroid nodules.
Okay.
Now, I don't have a thyroid condition. All my levels came back fine. But my naturopath has given me some tablets just to improve probably the health of my thyroid. Now, as you were talking about some of the supplements, are there some of those supplements, the Young Living supplements, I can take? Because I'm actually going to be moving to the United States in possibly the next few months. So I'm looking at, yeah. So I'm looking at what supplements I can then take there to improve like the nodules more than anything. I do think it is caused by stress. It's been very stressful 2 years. So I just don't know, is there some oils I can put on them to maybe help shrink them? Or which supplements should I be looking at to maybe help?
Your naturopath, is he supplementing with homeopathic?
Yes, also, yes.
It's homeopathic? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I would love to talk to you maybe one-on-one, just briefly, just to make sure that nothing counteracts. But off the top of my head, typically, if it's homeopathic, it's not going to counteract because homeopathic is absorbed super quick in the body. It depends on obviously what dilution, but it's absorbed super quick in the body, and it doesn't counteract with things like ashwagandha or even hormonal stuff. So Cortistop, Thiamin, and frankincense could probably be your bundle.
Right. And I've also just ordered the Endoflex.
Yeah, Endoflex is wonderful too. It's wonderful. So yeah, if we could just talk one-on-one to make sure nothing counteracts. Yeah, and I can give you that education. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Right.
But
thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. But the frankincense is actually one of the most amazing oils that is known for shrinking things like that.
I have been rubbing it on every morning.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's also one of the oils that doesn't have the side effects at all, like with any of that, because your body just uses it like it's water, like so loves frankincense. Typically, most people's bodies, but I would love to talk one-on-one.
Yes, all right, we'll get, yeah, I'll get into it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. All right.
Kenny, I don't know if you said it at the beginning of the class or not, but since it's recorded and everything, do you want to just mention that you're not a doctor and it's not medical advice? These are all, do you want to go ahead and just like say that?
Yes, thank you, my dear. Yes, so who I am is I'm certified specialist in nutritional supplements. I'm certified in homeopathic medication, and I am certified in Ayurvedic medication. I am in no way, shape, or form a doctor. I am only here to educate. So one-on-one, I can tell you what things counteract. I can tell you what questions to ask your doctor. I can look at blood work and I can say, you probably want to look at this test and dig a little deeper. I can suggest actual links for you of education and things that you can research on your own, things that are reputable. But as far as diagnosing, in no way do I ever want to do that. What I want to do is help educate you to be your own advocate, your own healthcare advocate. And I also don't slam doctors because we need them. So we do need them. And it's very important to work with your doctor. I know I've been talking through this whole process about that, but we need them, guys. And they're doing what they know best, but so are we. We know our body better than anyone ever, right? So if we're listening to what our body is saying, and if we're trying to work on our body's health and maintain health and wellness so that we don't get to a point where we're at the mercy of our doctors, that is what we want to do. Because doctors are trained to look at symptoms and check stuff off before they can make a diagnosis. And they don't know us very well sometimes. So it takes time for that. If you have a good relationship with your doctor, you've probably had that same doctor for a very long time, right? Because they know you. So you can talk to them and ask them questions, and they know who you are and where you're coming from for that. So that is what we do when we do these courses and classes, just to simply educate. What you do for you, though, has to be your decision based on how you feel. Even if somebody says, I would recommend maybe trying this and this. If you go to take that supplement and your body is like, I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want to take this. Guess what? You probably shouldn't take that supplement. You got to listen to your body, really pay attention to how you feel about things. It's going to tell you, it's going to be your friend, most importantly.
Excellent. Beautifully said. We got a couple questions, more
Sure.
questions. Can you take Juva Power with Ningxia or sprinkled on food?
Only sprinkled on food. And it's supposed to be a starchy type of food, or meat or something like that, a vegetable. It's not supposed to be anything super acidic. So keep that in mind as well. And always read the instructions. There's instructions on the packages.
Excellent. Ashwagandha has helped tremendously for
Yeah.
someone who had panic attacks and anxiety. I will also speak on behalf of ashwagandha. I had used it at one point. I don't think I gave it a fair enough go, but it was something that our natural doctor had highly recommended at the time. What I went in asking was, I need something for me to still function very well in life, be very present, but help with this intense stress and self panic. And that's what she recommended.
Yeah, it's that weird where you're holding your breath all the time. Even when you're walking upstairs, it's become such a habit. I didn't really realize it was such a bad habit until my watch kept telling me to breathe all day. You get the Apple Watch and it's like, just breathe. I'm like, my gosh, I have to breathe again? Like, what are you talking about? Then I looked into it and it was like, oh, I have to breathe. It's like telling me that I'm not breathing. Okay, might have an issue with this. It was awesome. Ashwagandha was awesome.
We have a question from Leah.
Leah.
Hi.
Hi. Hey, girl.
Hi. So I'm not sure if you mentioned about things with DHEA. I thought I heard something, but I was in the middle of something, so I'm sorry if you already
That's okay.
covered this. But I was wondering, like with anti-anxiety medications, like for me, I take something that helps my serotonin. So, and I've done research and I feel like that's kind of the same. Is it? Or like, so, because you don't want to get too much, right?
Yes, yes. So DHEA is it's a very long word, but it is actually the chemical that balances your estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. But when your hormones are off, it can mimic a lot of the side effects of norepinephrine and serotonin deficiencies. So we struggle with that a little bit, especially when you're going through that perimenopausal stage. And the hard thing is, even when you go to your doctor and they take that blood panel test, they tell you you're within range and you're okay, but you're like, no, seriously, I'm going to run somebody over. Like, this is not who I am. Like, wait a minute. So that anxiety and stuff that comes from not having that serotonin, it could actually be hormonal. Serotonin is created primarily in the gut, but it's due to it doesn't have anything to do with the DHEA, but they're the chemicals in the gut and the chemicals that take care of your hormones are very close, and they do get the same signal from the adrenal system. So that's their link, is the adrenal system, which is why something like ashwagandha, cortistop, Femigen that has the DHEA can help in that way, because they also have like the pregnenolone that helps balance the hormones too. So you're getting that adrenal support and hormone support in one.
Okay, so Femigen has DHEA?
Femigen has DHEA
Oh,
as
I didn't
well.
even realize that. So can I take that with I think it's called an SSRI?
You would want to ask your doctor. Typically, most people say most people are okay, but there are some instances where they're not. If you have an issue and you need bioidentical hormones, or you're taking anything for estrogen, that's when you might have an issue there. But I would definitely ask your doctor anyway.
Okay.
And then depending on what medication you're on, it can counteract with different herbs and different things. So what you don't want is to feel better in one way and then not in the other, right? So
Thank you.
you can take the bottle. I had a friend take the bottle to their doctor the other day. I had two actually. One took Femigen, the other took Femigen. One was fine, perfectly fine. The doctor was actually super surprised at how well of a complex this was. And the other one said, no, like, don't take it, because you'll never be able to take this bioidentical hormone in this. It'll just keep going like this. So she was really torn, because she thought, well, she was doing progestins for so long and it wasn't working as well. So she wanted to do something different. But so her doctor put her on like 1 gram of this bioidentical hormone. And he explained to her what could happen is that they'll fight with each other, and you'll go like this, which is super dangerous when you're dealing with hormones, because any unstable cell can become dangerous to the body, can become cancerous, can become dangerous. So you'll want to definitely talk to your doctors about anything that has to do with hormones. Hi, Yuri.
Thank you.
Leah, I love you. I'm so happy to see you. Hi, Yuri.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
Hi, Penny. Yeah, I have a question. You mentioned something in the beginning about using omega-3 with
Mhm.
dinners.
Yes.
I don't have that anymore. I used to have long time ago, but my daughter has a blood disorder. So probably I've never had the time, or I don't want to go to make me lapse, but I think I have the same disorder. So do I need to like take any supplements, or don't take it, or any of them can cause it again, or
Well,
what do you think?
most importantly is to if you're taking any medication, no medication, is to if the blood disorder, what's causing the blood disorder, right? So you'll want to go through a list in your mind. Is it low platelets, low iron, low this, low that? Is it a blood disorder that causes easy bruising? So you have thinning blood, things like that, right? So you'll kind of want to go down a checklist, just so you know what to ask your doctor about. If you've been, and I will tell anyone, if you've been diagnosed with something, you've got to go to your doctor with any change that you want to do. It's very important because they can, if you put your foot down and say, no, I want to do this naturally, they can help you because they can find the balance between the two. That's what they do. That's what their job is, right? Or they can tell you what happens. They're going to do the same thing that we do, even as certified specialists. We can only give you the education. But omega-3s, they are blood thinners. A lot of people do not know that. If you suffer from anemia and things like that, omega-3s is probably not what you want to do in order to get your, support. So you might want to look into something a little different than omega-3s in that way. So you can look at like your flaxseed, your chia seed, things like that. That's going to be a little bit different for you. A little less omegas, but still give you some more support, in that way. And make sure you're getting protein.
Thank you, Penny.
All right. How are we looking?
We got a couple more questions and then I think we're good. Would you say Omega Gies is a good supplement or to take with your DHA supplement for pregnancy?
You know what? A lot of people who are pregnant are told not to take omegas because of the blood thinning issues. So the omegas that you would want to take are going to be basically from kelp or from algae. Even if you go to your local vitamin store, you're going to find your pregnancy omegas or your DHA for that is going to be different than like a fish oil or a MCT oil or something like that. You definitely don't want to be taking something that's going to thin your blood when you're pregnant.
Excellent. I think that answered the question. Can you take your B supplements and omega together?
You can.
And the best time to take vitamin D?
Most people, let me rephrase that. Most people can take Bs and omegas together. Yes. Best time to take vitamin D is going to be 4 hours after you take your vitamin B.
Excellent.
You need to give it about 3 to 4 hours, but I would say 4.
All right. Can you take Cortistop and Thyromin at the evening? And do I need to be taking morning and evening, or do I need to be taking it morning and evening?
So you're going to want to follow the instructions on Cortistop packaging. You want to start with 1 in the morning, and it's always 1 Thyromin at night. Sometimes you can take Cortistop in the morning and the evening. That's okay too. But you want to start with like splitting them. So 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. Then you'll go to 2 in the morning and then that Thyromin in the evening. And if you're not getting the added support, you'll want to do your 2 in the morning and then 1 in the evening of the Cortistop with the Thyromin. But don't increase your Thyromin, but you can increase your Cortistop.
Okay. You got a couple. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Super helpful.
Oh, thank you so much. Barbara, I see you there.
For thyroid issues, how do you suggest frankincense, topical or diffuse?
100% depends on the person and what else you're going through. 100%. Thyroid's tricky, guys. If you don't do it right, you're going to end up hurting yourself more. So please be careful. If you're taking medications, then diffuse. 100% diffuse. But please make sure you talk to your doctor, even with essential oils, if you're going to use them. Your doctors are going to freak out at first because they don't know what essential oils do. They're not trained to. That's okay. You just want to do your research and be prepared to explain why. When you have that list of why and you know why you want to do it, you go to your doctor and it's scientific and you can explain why. They tend to talk to you differently because they do want to work with you. They want you to be healthy. And a lot of them do know some of what they do because they use them themselves. You just have to find the right doctors that can help you with that.
Excellent. I don't know if Anna, if you did want to unmute and ask, like go into detail as far as that question, feel free, but if not, that's totally okay as
Yeah,
well. Other than that, I think we covered it all.
We did good. Awesome.
Well done. Thank
Let
you,
me-
Penny.
No, thank you guys. There's so much. I know it's so much. I know it's a lot, and there's so much more, but well, let me type in where you guys can find me.
Someone asked, is that, what is it? Adriana, what did you ask? Is true that Ashwagandha?
Ashwagandha.
She said, sorry. Okay. know.
Gotcha. So let me put this on Instagram, my Instagram here, and then on Facebook. Yay. And then you know what, you guys, my Joyfully Nesting, which is my company's brand, it just became incorporated, like for real. So
Real deal now. Woo.
I mean, for real, for consulting and all of that jazz, with the liability insurances and all of that now. So there'll be lots of fun things coming your way where we can talk more in detail on one-on-ones, and I can dig a little bit deeper with you guys. And hello, I'm Oak Tribe, so you're gonna see me all the time anyway, so don't worry. But I really enjoyed this series. I look forward to what we have the rest of the year and on to next year. I know we'll do much more.
Excellent. Thank you, Penny. And thank you guys all for joining. This is beautiful to see. Have a good day.
Thank
or
you guys so
evening.
much. Hi, Tanya.
Thank you, Penny.
Hi, Tanya Martinez. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Penny, for all
Bye,
your
Penny.
info.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Liz. Thank you, girls,
Thank
so
you,
much.
Penny.
Thank
Thank
you.
Yeah. Thanks, Crystal, for
Thank you,
continuing
Penny.
I know, Crystal's. Hi,
Hi,
Barbara.
Hi.
Thank
Yari.
you. Thank you, Penny. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Yuri.
I know. This
Oh,
is like a
thank
great
you.
send off to the end of the series.
I know. I feel like I want to sing. I should have told everybody, stay on, let's sing.
Oh, so let me prepare.
Wait, Penny.
Go ahead.
I know, huh? Like I'll just turn it off record and then we can just sing something. Where are we at? Hold on, let me stop recording.